Hello and welcome to the C# course by Covalence. I'm Matt Landers and I'm going to be your instructor for this course. I'm really excited to teach you about C#, and to get started we're just going to go ahead and create our first C# application, Hello World. So to this point you should have already installed all the prerequisites like Visual Studio and any other tools that we recommend. So I've already got that installed and pulled up here, and we're just going to create our first C# application. So I'm in Visual Studio Community Edition, which is free, and we're just going to create a console app. So for the majority of this course, we're only going to create console apps because this course is focused on the language of C#. There are other courses that are focused more on .NET, which would be things like ASP.NET, EntityFramework, and other libraries that you can use C# to access. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to create a new project. If you look in your new project list, you should see a console app. I'm just going to click that, and that's going to pull up a window, a new project window. Now here we can just name our project, and I'm going to name it Hello World, and I'm just going to say okay. Now this is going to go ahead and set up a new project file for us. It's going to give us our program.cs, which is the thing that's going to actually run. So let's look at what's going on here. So we're importing the system library. We're not going to worry about that right now. Don't want to get too deep into any of the details of this. Just want to show you what this program is doing. And then we're going to use this foundation to continue on and learn more about the C# language. So every project or solution has namespaces, and there's a default namespace created that is based on the name of your project. Ours is called Hello World. And then we have a class. Since this is a console application, we need a class that has a main entry point, which is what we have here in our static void main. So this is a function that takes one argument, which is an array of strings, and that allows us to pass arguments on the command line, which we'll look at later. And then we're just going to do something really simple. This is already set up for us. Microsoft knew we wanted to do a Hello World app, and they wrote the whole thing for us. So we got console.writeLine Hello World here. So this is just going to open up the console, print Hello World to it, and then go away. So let's run that. Whenever you're going to run an application in Visual Studio, you just hit F5. And that will run the app. It will build our program, which you'll see down in the output window at the bottom. And then you saw that flash of the screen come up, and you saw a console, and then it was gone. And the reason for that is that it did what it was supposed to do. We entered this program through the main function, and then it printed Hello World, but then the program was over. It didn't have anything else to do, so it closed out. And you'll see down here that it actually did exit out of the program. It did everything that we thought it would do, and then it exited. Now, we don't want to exit. We want to actually see this thing work. So let's go ahead and do a console.readLine. You could do read key or whatever here, but we're going to go ahead and run this, and this will stop the program from ending. It'll be waiting for input from us before it actually ends the program. So there we go. We can see our Hello World program. Now, let's take a look at the anatomy of this project. So we have our Hello World program. It's running now. And then on the left-hand side here, you can see that we have our Solution Explorer. Now, you're going to get really familiar with this as you build more .NET projects. But this just shows us all the files that are in our current solution. So there's this concept of a solution and a project. And we're really just working with one project, but every project has a solution. And these are just like the workspaces that we're going to work in for our application. And our application only has one file, program.cs, and that is this file that we have open right now. So all of our code is actually in this one file. These other things are just to help Visual Studio out, where we can set options and preferences of how we want to build the program. So let's do this a little bit of a different way. I'm going to open a console myself. So here we are. I'm going to navigate to this project. So Hello World. And I'm going to navigate again because we have a directory for our solution and our project. And now you'll see the program.cs file right there. Okay, so that's this file that we have open over here. Now, if we didn't want to use Visual Studio, we could edit our program from any type of editor, like Notepad, Visual Studio Code, Atom, Sublime, whatever you wanted to use. And then we can compile it on the command line, doing CSC, and then we type the name of our C# file. They always end in .cs. We hit enter, and then it will build that file. Now, if I list this directory, you'll see that now I have program.exe right here. So if I just type program.exe, you'll see that we get hello world. So our program is actually running from the command line now, and it built that from here. So most of the time you're going to want to use Visual Studio because it gives you a lot of help. But if you are using other tools and other editors, then you can do it from the command line if you prefer. So that's it. We've created our first C# program. I know it doesn't do anything right now, but now we're going to go into these other lectures and talk about the ins and outs of everything that is C#. And we're going to go through it all, trust me. So I will see you in the next lecture.